Here's a recap of your markets on this Thursday, the 27th day of March. Your view of the day definitely depended on where in the state you were located. North Central and some of Northeast Missouri got significant rainstorms this morning. Few places in North Central Missouri reporting in excess of 2.5 inches, which probably washed out a few water gaps and definitely putting field work on delay for a little bit longer. In West Central Missouri, however, they've had a pretty good last couple of days. Quite a bit of fertilize going on pastures and hay fields, and hydrous going in the ground. And then today, reports of quite a few corn planters rolling, getting seed in the ground before maybe some rains come this weekend. Taking a look at some of our tracking indexes around the Missouri Stocker formula, based roughly on a 550-pound steer up through the auction barns in Missouri, setting at 372.29. That's 51 cents lower than Wednesday's formula price. The CME feeder cattle index, 287.67. That's based on an 800-pound steer up through the 12-state feeding region, and that moves back within about 11 cents from being at the all-time record high that we saw late last week. Misspoke a bit this morning about what was expected at the New Cambria livestock market. Apparently, coffee hadn't kicked in, and we were still looking at last week's advertising. They didn't have a whole lot offered today, less than 300 head. Mocan livestock market looks like they're going to be pretty light today as well. And Mid-Missouri Stockyards in Phillipsburg looks like they're pretty light today as well, less than 700 head there. Haven't got that final report yet, but a few of the sales reported down there at Phillipsburg today. Some 3.5 to 4 weight steers at 410 to 440, some 6.5 to 7 weights at 305 to 322, some 7 to 750 pounds at 289 to 305, some heifers, medium and large ones, 4 to 5 weights at 365 to 402.50, 5 to 6 weights at 298 to 347, some 6 to 7 weights at 273.5 to 309. Couple of special cow sales will be held Friday evening. China Livestock Market. They're expecting to have about 400 head, several good young breeding cows there that'll be available to take home. That sale is going to kick off about 6 o'clock. Then Kingsville Livestock Auction. They've got a special replacement cow sale Friday night as well, expecting 1,200 head there. That sale kick off at 5 in the evening. Taking a look at the box beef cutout values today, choice at $335.72, down $2.58. Select at $319.44. That was up $2.91. Those values based on 117 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds, and the choice select spread setting at $16.28. Negotiated feedlot trade managed to gather up a few hundred more head today, up to 6,800 head for the week. Not really all that many yet. Most trade appears like it's going to wait again until perhaps the late hours on Friday before we see significant volume. Texas, just a few dozen head, not really anything to even talk about there yet so far this week. Kansas, 1,052 head, mostly at 208 and 209. Iowa's reported about 3,900 head, mostly all live sales reported at 213. There was a few dress sales early in the week at 330 to 334. Nebraska's reported about 450 head, 213 to 334. Again, not really enough anywhere to consider the market established yet this week. Taking a look at the futures markets on the Mercantile Exchange. Live cattle for April, 209.55 up 247. June at 205.80 up 277. August at 201.80 up 245. Feeder cattle for March, 85 cents higher, 287.65. April 287.55 up 167. May at 286.52 up 135. Lean hogs for April, 52 cents lower, 87.02. May at 88.85, down 67. And June, 96.17, down 37. Taking a look now at the grain markets, soybeans finally received a little bit of good news, I guess, today. That market was higher. mainly due to the expectations of an absolute gigantic corn crop this year. That kind of boosted the soybean markets a bit today, both at the elevators and on the Board of Trade. Of course, we'll get those official estimates, the pre-report or pre-planting estimates on Monday. There's a lot of people waiting to see just exactly how high that corn number is going to be, but everyone knows it's going to be awful big. At the elevators on Thursday, soybean bids were 14 to 16 cents higher, corn 3 cents lower, or wheat was 3 cents lower, corn steady to a penny lower. Corn bids at the elevators in St. Louis, 460 to 461, Kansas City 410 to 444. Soybeans, St. Louis 1035, Kansas City 961 to 1011. Wheat bids in St. Louis 516 to 532, and Kansas City at 512. On the Board of Trade, corn contracts May close 1 1/4 lower at 450. July down a penny, 458. September down 3/4 cent, 436 1/4. May soybeans up 15 3/4, 1016 3/4. July at 1030 1/2, up 15 1/2. August at 1027, up 14 1/2. Wheat contracts, May 3 1/4 lower, 532. July at 547 1/4, down 3 3/4. September at 564 1/4, down 3 3/4. Soybean meal for May up 90 cents a ton, $294.50. Soybean oil for May up $1.63 a hundredweight at $44.27. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's your market recap for Thursday. This is Tony Hancock.